What if I told you that the person who tried to murder me was my own brother at his wedding, in front of 200 guests, using the one thing he knew could kill me in minutes? My wife saved my life that day by doing something that seemed completely crazy at the time. She grabbed my arm and whispered 4 words that changed everything. "We're leaving right now." But the real shock, the reason he wanted me dead had nothing to do with hatred or revenge. It was something far more cold-blooded than that. Something that would make you question everyone you trust. This is the story of how I discovered that family isn't always who you think it is. And sometimes, the people closest to you are the most dangerous of all. I'm standing in front of this hotel mirror in San Diego, adjusting my tie for what feels like the 100th time. My hands are shaking just a little, and I can't tell if it's nerves about the wedding or something else entirely. The late afternoon sun is streaming through the window behind me, casting this golden glow across the room, and for a moment, everything feels perfect. Almost too perfect. You know that feeling when you're about to witness something beautiful, but there's this tiny voice in the back of your head whispering that something's not quite right. That's exactly where I am right now. Emily knocks on the door, her voice cutting through my thoughts like it always does when I'm overthinking. "You ready, handsome?" she calls out, and I can hear that calm, composed tone she uses when she's being my anchor. She's dressed in this elegant navy suit that makes her look like she stepped out of a magazine, and when I open the door, she's standing there with that smile that made me fall in love with her 12 years ago. 12 years! Can you believe that 12 years of marriage, and we still look at each other like we're newlyweds? People always ask us when we're having kids, and we just smile and tell them we're complete as we are. And we really are. Emily and I, we've built this life together that's exactly what we wanted. No drama, no complications, just pure simple happiness. But today isn't about us. Today is about Ryan, my little brother, finally getting married. Ryan. God, where do I even start with Ryan? He's always been the golden child. You know, the one who could do no wrong. The one who got all the attention, all the praise, all the second chances. Meanwhile, I was the steady one, the reliable one, the one who cleaned up messes and never complained about it. And honestly, I never minded. That's just who we were. Ryan was the star, and I was happy to be in the background making sure everything ran smoothly. But something changed 3 years ago when Dad died. Something shifted between us, and for the first time in our lives, Ryan actually needed me. Not just wanted me around, but really truly needed me. I can still remember those last few months before Dad passed. Ryan was supposed to be there, supposed to help with the caregiving, the doctor appointments, the endless nights when Dad couldn't sleep. But Ryan was always somewhere else. Always had some excuse, some urgent business to attend to. So, it was just me sitting by Dad's bedside, holding his hand through the worst of it, listening to him tell stories about when we were kids. Dad used to say Ryan had fire in him, but I had something more important. I had loyalty. I never really understood what he meant until those final weeks when it was just the two of us in that hospital room and Ryan was nowhere to be found. But here's the thing about Ryan. When Dad finally passed, he was devastated. Absolutely broken. And for the first time in our adult lives, he looked at me like I was the big brother, like I was the one he could lean on. We grew closer in those months after the funeral than we'd ever been before. He'd call me at random hours just to talk, show up at my house with takeout, and a need to reminisce about Dad. It was like he finally saw me, really saw me, and I'd be lying if I said it didn't feel good. Emily always supported that relationship. She'd watch us together and smile, telling me later how happy she was that Ryan and I had found our way to each other. "You deserve to have your brother back," she'd say, and she meant it. Emily never had siblings, so she understood how precious that bond could be. So when Ryan told us he was getting married, we were over the moon. Daniel seems like a great guy. Successful, funny, treats Ryan like he's the most important person in the world. They've been together for 2 years now, and honestly, I've never seen Ryan happier. More settled, more like the person I always hoped he could become. "Don't cry at the vows, handsome," Emily says now, straightening my collar with those gentle hands that have patched up more wounds than I can count. She's a paramedic, my Emily, and she has this way of taking care of everyone around her without making a big deal about it. You know how you get at weddings. She's right, of course. I'm a complete mess at weddings. Always have been. Something about watching two people promise to love each other forever just gets to me. Maybe it's because I know how rare that kind of love really is, how lucky Emily and I are to have found it. But as we're getting ready to leave, I notice something. Emily glances toward the kitchen area of our hotel suite, and for just a second her brow furrows. It's subtle, so subtle that anyone else would miss it. But I've been married to this woman for 12 years. I know every expression, every gesture, every tell. Everything okay? I ask, but she's already smiling again. That bright, reassuring smile that tells me not to worry. Of course, she says, grabbing her purse. Just making sure we have everything. As we head out of the room, I catch her looking back toward the ballroom area one more time. There's something in her expression I can't quite read, something that makes my stomach tighten just a little. But then she slips her hand into mine and that feeling fades away. The hotel is absolutely gorgeous today. The Grand Del Mar always goes all out for weddings, but Ryan and Daniel have really outdone themselves. There are white orchids everywhere, hanging chandeliers that cast these dancing shadows on the walls, and the whole place smells like jasmine and ocean breeze. It's the kind of setting you dream about for your own wedding, and I can't help but smile, thinking about how perfect this day is going to be for Ryan. We make our way down to the ceremony area, and I'm struck by how many people are here. Ryan's always been popular, always had this magnetic personality that drew people to him, but seeing all these faces, all these people who care enough to be here on his special day, it makes my chest swell with pride. I spot our mom near the front, dabbing at her eyes with a tissue, even though the ceremony hasn't started yet. She's wearing this soft pink dress that Dad would have loved, and for a moment I can almost feel him here with us, watching his boys all grown up. Emily and I find our seats, and she squeezes my hand as the music starts. "Here we go," she whispers, and I can hear the excitement in her voice. She loves Ryan too, has always treated him like the little brother she never had. When he was going through his rough patch after Dad died, Emily was the one who encouraged me to be patient with him, to give him the space he needed to grieve in his own way. The processional begins, and Ryan walks down the aisle with Mom. He looks incredible in his tuxedo, confident and happy in a way that makes my heart ache with how proud I am of him. This is my little brother, the kid who used to follow me around the backyard, pretending to be a superhero, now about to marry the love of his life. But as I'm watching Ryan, I notice Emily shift beside me. She's scanning the room, her eyes landing on something near the back where the hotel staff are moving around with trays and flowers. Her hand tightens on mine just slightly, and when I follow her gaze, I see Ryan pause for just a moment to whisper something to one of the staff members. It's probably nothing, probably just last-minute wedding details, the kind of thing any groom would be concerned about on his big day. But something about Emily's reaction makes me pay attention in a way I normally wouldn't. Daniel appears at the altar, and the smile that spreads across his face when he sees Ryan walking toward him is absolutely radiant. These two are so clearly meant for each other, so obviously, head over heels in love, that it makes my own heart feel full just watching them. The officiant begins speaking about love and commitment, about the journey that brought Ryan and Daniel to this moment, and I find myself thinking about my own wedding day. Emily and I got married in a small ceremony at the beach. Just family and a few close friends. Nothing fancy, nothing elaborate, just two people promising to build a life together. It was perfect then, and sitting here now, watching my brother take the same leap, it still feels perfect. But I can't shake this feeling that something's not quite right. Emily's posture is different than usual, more alert, like she's listening for something I can't hear. As a paramedic, she's trained to notice things other people miss, to pick up on subtle signs that something might be wrong. It's saved lives more times than I can count, and right now that same instinct seems to be kicking in. I try to focus on the ceremony on Ryan's face as he looks at Daniel on the beautiful words being spoken about love and partnership. This should be one of the happiest moments of my life, watching my brother commit to someone who clearly adores him. And it is happy, it really is. But underneath that happiness, there's this growing sense of unease that I can't explain and can't shake. The vows begin, and just like Emily predicted, I start getting emotional. Ryan's words are heartfelt and genuine, talking about how Daniel helped him find himself after Dad died, how their love gave him a reason to become a better person. It's beautiful and moving, and I'm definitely tearing up. But even as I'm wiping my eyes, I notice Emily's attention drift again toward the back of the room. This time, I see what she's looking at. Ryan is making eye contact with someone near the catering area, giving a subtle nod that could mean anything or nothing at all. "I love you too, babe," I whisper to Emily when she squeezes my hand again. But her smile doesn't quite reach her eyes this time. The rings are exchanged, the kiss happens, and everyone erupts in applause and cheers. Ryan and Daniel are officially married, and they look absolutely radiant as they walk back down the aisle together. This is supposed to be the perfect ending to a perfect ceremony, the moment when everything comes together in pure joy and celebration. And it is joyful. It really is. But as we stand up to follow the happy couple to the cocktail hour, Emily pulls me aside for just a moment. "I need to check on something," she says quietly, and there's something in her voice that makes me stop and really look at her. "What kind of something?" She hesitates, and I can see her weighing her words carefully. "Probably nothing. Just stay close to me during dinner, okay?" It's such a strange request that I almost laugh. Of course I'll stay close to you. We're sitting at the same table. But Emily's expression is serious now. More serious than I've seen her in a long time. "I mean it, Noah. Just trust me on this one." And because I've learned over 12 years of marriage that when Emily gets that look in her eyes, it means she knows something I don't. I nod and promise to stick close. Even though I have no idea what she's worried about, even though everything seems perfectly fine, I trust her instincts more than I trust my own. As we head toward the cocktail area, I catch one more glimpse of Ryan laughing with Daniel and their wedding party. He looks so happy, so completely content, that it's hard to imagine anything could be wrong. This is his perfect day, the day he's been planning for months, the day that marks the beginning of his new life with the person he loves most. So why does Emily look like she's preparing for something terrible to happen? The cocktail hour is in full swing now, and I have to admit, Ryan and Daniel really knocked it out of the park with this whole thing. The terrace overlooking the San Diego coastline is absolutely breathtaking, with the Pacific Ocean stretching out as far as you can see. There's this gentle breeze carrying the scent of jasmine and salt water, and the late afternoon sun is casting everything in this warm, golden light that makes everyone look like they're glowing. Emily and I are making our rounds, chatting with relatives I haven't seen in years. College friends of Ryan's Daniel's family from back east. Everyone's buzzing with that special kind of energy you only get at weddings. You know, that infectious happiness that makes you believe in love stories and happy endings. But I keep catching Emily checking her watch, scanning the crowd like she's looking for something specific. When I ask her about it, she just smiles and says she wants to make sure we don't miss anything important. Which is weird because Emily's never been one to worry about wedding schedules. She's usually the one telling me to relax and just enjoy the moment. I'm talking to Daniel's sister when I overhear Daniel himself chatting with a group of Ryan's business associates. Daniel's got this infectious enthusiasm when he talks about their future plans, gesturing with his champagne glass as he describes their dream of expanding the restaurant business. Ryan's got such a brilliant mind for this stuff. Daniel is saying, his face lighting up the way it always does when he talks about my brother. We're thinking about opening a second location. Maybe even a third if things go well. The timing couldn't be better, honestly. We've got some capital coming in that's going to change everything for us. There's something about the way he says, capital coming in, that makes my stomach clench. Not jealousy exactly. Ryan's always been ambitious. Always had big dreams, and I'm genuinely happy that he's found someone who shares that vision. But there's this nagging feeling I can't shake, like there's a piece of information I'm missing. Emily appears at my elbow just as Daniel finishes his story. Having fun? She asks, but her eyes are focused somewhere over my shoulder. Yeah, of course. Daniel was just telling everyone about their expansion plans. Sounds like they're really going places. Emily nods, but I can tell she's only half listening. That's great, she says absently. Noah, can we talk for a minute? Privately. We step away from the crowd toward a quieter corner of the terrace where the sound of the ocean almost drowns out the party chatter. Emily's holding her champagne, but she hasn't touched it since we got it. What's going on? I ask. You've been acting strange all day. She takes a deep breath, and for a moment I think she's going to tell me what's been bothering her. But then she just shakes her head and forces a smile. I'm probably being paranoid, she says. You know how I get sometimes. The job makes you see danger everywhere. It's true. Being a paramedic has given Emily this hyper-awareness that can be both a blessing and a curse. She's saved lives because she noticed things other people missed, but she's also spent sleepless nights worrying about scenarios that never materialized. But if something was wrong, you'd tell me right. I press. She looks me straight in the eyes, and there's something there I can't quite read. Of course I would. I promise. Before I can ask anything else, Ryan appears with Daniel in tow, both of them grinning like they've just won the lottery. There's my big brother, Ryan exclaims, throwing his arm around my shoulders in that easy, affectionate way he's had since we were kids. Can you believe this day? Can you believe I actually managed to convince this amazing man to marry me? Daniel laughs and kisses Ryan's cheek. Pretty sure I was the one doing the convincing, he says. Your brother here played hard to get for months before he finally agreed to move in with me. That's because I learned from the best, Ryan says, squeezing my shoulder. Noah here taught me that the good things in life are worth waiting for. Look how long he and Emily took before they got married. 3 years of dating, Emily chimes in, but there's something forced about her smile. I made him work for it, and it was worth every minute, I say, pulling her closer. Because it's true. Emily made me a better person, made me want to be the kind of man who deserved her love. I can only hope Ryan feels the same way about Daniel. Speaking of working for it, Daniel says, I should probably go check on dinner preparations. The hotel coordinator wanted to run through the seating arrangements one more time. I'll come with you, Ryan says immediately, just to make sure everything's perfect. They head off together, and I watch them go with this warm feeling in my chest. Ryan's found his person, his partner in crime, his happily ever after. After everything he went through with Dad's death, after all those months of darkness and uncertainty seeing him, this happy feels like a gift. But Emily's watching them too, and her expression is troubled. What is it? I ask. Nothing, she says quickly. Do you know anything about their financial situation? The restaurant, I mean. It's such a random question that I actually laugh. Why would I know that Ryan doesn't exactly share his business plans with me? Why do you ask? Emily shrugs, but it's not casual. Daniel mentioned capital coming in. I was just curious about where that might be coming from. Probably investors, I say. Or a loan. That's how most restaurants expand, right? Right. Emily agrees, but she doesn't sound convinced. The conversation moves to other topics as more people join our little group. Mom comes over with tears in her eyes, talking about how beautiful the ceremony was, how proud Dad would have been to see Ryan so happy. Daniel's parents share stories about their own wedding 30 years ago, and everyone laughs at the appropriate moments. But I keep thinking about Emily's questions about the way she's been watching Ryan all day, like she's trying to solve some kind of puzzle. And the more I think about it, the more I realize that there have been other little things, other moments that didn't quite add up. Like last month when Ryan asked me about Dad's estate planning. It seemed innocent enough at the time, just casual conversation about making sure our own affairs were in order now that we were getting older. But he'd asked some pretty specific questions about inheritance laws, about what happens when someone dies without updating their will. I'd chalked it up to wedding stress, the kind of future planning that comes naturally when you're about to get married. But now thinking about it in the context of Emily's unease, it feels different somehow. Then, there was that weird conversation a few weeks ago about my peanut allergy. Ryan had brought it up out of nowhere, asking me how severe it really was, whether I always carried my EpiPen, what would happen if I accidentally ingested peanuts without realizing it. Again, it seemed like normal brotherly concern at the time. We just watched a documentary about food allergies, and it made sense that he'd want to understand what I was dealing with. But Emily's a paramedic. She knows exactly how dangerous my allergy is, knows that even a small amount of peanut oil could send me into anaphylactic shock within minutes. She's seen people die from allergic reactions that started with just a tiny exposure. Is that what she's worried about? Some kind of food safety issue at the wedding. The dinner bell chimes, interrupting my thoughts, and everyone starts making their way toward the ballroom. Emily takes my arm, and her grip is tighter than usual. "Remember what I said about staying close," she murmurs as we follow the crowd. "Emily, you're starting to scare me. What exactly are you worried about?" She stops walking and turns to face me, her expression more serious than I've seen it in years. "I hope I'm wrong," she says quietly. "I really truly hope I'm being paranoid and overthinking everything. But Noah, I need you to trust me tonight, okay? If I tell you we need to leave, even if it seems crazy, even if you don't understand why, I need you to trust me and just go with it." The urgency in her voice sends a chill down my spine. Emily's not the type to panic or overreact. She's seen genuine emergencies, life and death situations where split-second decisions matter. If she's this concerned about something, then maybe I should be too. "Okay," I say. "I trust you, but can you at least give me a hint about what we're dealing with here?" Emily glances around to make sure no one's listening, then leans in close. "I've been watching Ryan all day," she whispers, "and I've seen him have at least 3 separate conversations with catering staff. That's not normal groom behavior, Noah. Grooms don't usually micromanage the kitchen staff unless there's a specific reason. Maybe he's just being perfectionist about the menu, I suggest. But even as I say it, it doesn't feel right. Ryan's never been particularly interested in food preparation. He's always been more of a big-picture guy, leaving the details to other people." "Maybe," Emily says, but her tone suggests she doesn't believe it either. "Just promise me you'll be careful about what you eat tonight. And if anything feels off, anything at all, you tell me immediately." The ballroom is absolutely stunning. Round tables draped in ivory linens, centerpieces of white roses, and eucalyptus candlelight dancing off crystal glasses and silver chargers. It's elegant and romantic, and exactly the kind of setting Ryan and Daniel deserve for their perfect day. We find our assigned table near the front, close to the head table where the happy couple will be sitting. Mom's already there, dabbing at her eyes with her napkin still emotional from the ceremony. Daniel's parents are chatting with some family friends, and everyone seems relaxed and happy. But as I'm taking in the beautiful scene, Emily's hand finds mine under the table, and her grip is trembling slightly. "What table number are we?" she asks, even though she can clearly see the number displayed in the center of our table. "Table 5, I say. "Why?" Emily nods like she's confirming something to herself. Then she excuses herself to use the restroom, but I notice she doesn't head toward the ladies' room. Instead, she walks toward the back of the ballroom where the catering staff are making final preparations. I'm starting to get genuinely worried now. Emily's always been intuitive, always had good instincts about people and situations. If she thinks something's wrong, then something probably is wrong. But what could possibly be wrong at Ryan's wedding? What could be dangerous about a formal dinner in a 5-star hotel when Emily comes back, her face is pale? "We need to talk," she says quietly. "Not here. Outside." "But dinner's about to start," I protest. "Ryan will notice if we're not here." "Noah." Her voice is sharp now, urgent, in a way that makes my blood run cold. "We need to talk right now." I follow her out of the ballroom, my heart starting to race with a fear I don't understand. The terrace is mostly empty now, everyone having moved inside for dinner, and the sound of the ocean seems louder than before. Emily takes a deep breath, and when she looks at me, there are tears in her eyes. I think Ryan's trying to hurt you, she says, the words coming out in a rush. I think he's planning something and it involves your dinner tonight. The world seems to tilt sideways for a moment. What are you talking about? That's crazy. Ryan would never. I've been watching him all day, Emily interrupts. And I've seen him talking to the head chef multiple times. Just now I walked back there and heard him giving very specific instructions about table 5. Your table. Our table. That doesn't mean anything, I say, but my voice sounds weak even to my own ears. Maybe he's just making sure we get good service. Maybe he requested a special meal or something. Emily shakes her head. Noah, I saw him hand something to the chef. A small bottle. And when I got closer, I could smell it. Smell what? Peanut oil, she whispers. I could smell peanut oil. The words hit me like a physical blow. Peanut oil, the one thing that could kill me in minutes if I'm not careful. The thing Ryan's been asking about, the thing he knows could send me to the hospital or worse. No, I say automatically. No, that's not possible. Ryan wouldn't do that. He's my brother. He loves me. But even as I'm saying it, pieces are starting to fall into place. The questions about my allergy, the interest in Dad's estate planning, the mysterious capital that's going to fund Daniel's restaurant expansion. How much money did Dad leave me? I ask suddenly. Emily's expression confirms what I'm starting to suspect. A lot, Noah. More than enough to fund multiple restaurant locations. And if something happened to me, it would all go to Ryan. The revelation hits me like a tsunami of betrayal and disbelief. My little brother, the person I've protected and supported and loved unconditionally for my entire life, might be planning to kill me for money. We have to go, Emily says. Right now, we have to get out of here. But I can't move. I can't process what she's telling me. Because if it's true, then everything I believed about my family, about the person Ryan had become, about the bond we'd rebuilt after Dad's death is a lie. And if it's true, then the brother I thought I'd finally gotten back was never really there at all. We're standing on this terrace, the Pacific Ocean stretching out endlessly before us, and I feel like my entire world just got turned upside down. Emily's words keep echoing in my head. I think Ryan's trying to hurt you. It's so impossible, so completely insane that part of me wants to laugh it off as wedding day paranoia. But Emily doesn't panic. Emily doesn't make accusations without evidence. And the look in her eyes right now is the same one she gets when she's working a critical case, when someone's life is hanging in the balance. We need to go back inside, I say finally. We need to act normal. If you're wrong about this. And if I'm right, Emily interrupts. If I'm right, Noah, and we go back in there and you eat whatever's on that plate, you could be dead in 20 minutes. The stark reality of what she's saying hits me like a punch to the gut. My peanut allergy isn't something to mess around with. I've been to the emergency room twice in my life because of accidental exposure, and both times it was touch and go. The last time 3 years ago, I almost didn't make it. Emily was the one who found me on the kitchen floor, blue and barely breathing after I'd accidentally eaten something with peanut oil at a restaurant. She saved my life that day, performing CPR until the paramedics arrived. But this is Ryan we're talking about, I say, my voice barely above a whisper. My little brother. The kid who used to crawl into my bed when he had nightmares. The person who held my hand at Dad's funeral. Emily's expression softens for just a moment. I know. I know how much you love him. How much you want to believe the best about him. But Noah, think about it. Really think about everything that's happened since your dad died. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to examine those conversations about my allergy, about the inheritance, about Ryan's sudden interest in estate planning. I don't want to consider the possibility that my brother, the person I've protected and supported my entire life, might be capable of murder. But Emily's right. The pieces fit together too perfectly to be coincidence. What do? I ask. We go back in there, we act normal, and we don't eat anything, Emily says, and then we leave as soon as we can without causing a scene. People will notice if we don't eat. Let them notice. Better to deal with awkward questions than to deal with you dying. The bluntness of her words makes me flinch, but she's right. If there's even a chance that Ryan has tampered with my food, we can't take the risk. We walk back into the ballroom and it's like entering a completely different world. The lighting is warm and romantic, casting golden shadows across the elegantly dressed guests. Everyone's laughing and chatting, clinking glasses and taking photos. It's the picture of wedding perfection, and I feel like I'm watching it all through glass, disconnected from the joy and celebration happening around me. Our table is in the perfect spot, close enough to the head table that we can see Ryan and Daniel clearly. They're beaming, holding hands, looking like the happiest couple in the world. Daniel keeps leaning over to whisper something in Ryan's ear, making him laugh, and the sight of their genuine affection makes my chest ache with confusion. How can Ryan look so happy, so genuinely in love, if he's planning to kill his own brother? How can he sit there laughing and joking while plotting my murder? Just breathe, Emily murmurs as we take our seats. Act natural. Mom is already at the table chatting with Daniel's parents about the ceremony. She looks radiant in her pink dress, happier than I've seen her since Dad died. This wedding has given her something to focus on besides grief, a reason to believe in hope and new beginnings again. There you are, she exclaims when she sees us. I was wondering where you disappeared to. The salad course was delicious. I look down at the table and see that the first course has already been served and cleared. I'd been so caught up in Emily's revelation that I'd completely lost track of time. Just getting some air, I say, forcing a smile. The ocean view is incredible. Isn't it Ryan and Daniel picked the perfect venue? Everything's been absolutely flawless so far. Daniel's mother nods enthusiastically. The attention to detail is amazing. You can tell how much thought went into every aspect of this celebration. Every aspect, including apparently the careful planning of my potential murder. I glance toward the head table and catch Ryan looking in our direction. When our eyes meet, he raises his champagne glass in a little toast, his smile warm and genuine. It's the same smile he's had since we were kids, the one that used to make me feel like the luckiest big brother in the world. Now, it makes my skin crawl. The servers begin bringing out the main course, and I watch them approach our table with growing dread. Emily's hand finds mine under the table, her grip tight and reassuring. Remember, she whispers so quietly that only I can hear, no matter what happens, don't eat anything. The waiter appears at my shoulder with a covered plate. Pan-seared halibut with lemon butter sauce and seasonal vegetables, he announces with professional pride, setting the dish in front of me with a flourish. It looks absolutely perfect. The fish is golden and flaky, surrounded by colorful roasted vegetables and drizzled with what appears to be a delicate butter sauce. Under normal circumstances, I would have dug in immediately. The presentation is restaurant quality, the kind of meal that makes you appreciate good food and skilled preparation. But as I stare at the plate, all I can think about is Emily's words. I could smell peanut oil. Emily stiffens beside me, her entire body going rigid as her eyes fix on my plate. She's trying to be subtle about it, but I can feel the tension radiating from her like heat. Everything looks wonderful, Mom says, cutting into her own portion of fish. Ryan and Daniel really outdid themselves with the menu selection. Daniel's father agrees already halfway through his meal. The seasoning is perfect. You can tell this chef knows what he's doing. I pick up my fork more out of habit than intention, and Emily's reaction is immediate and sharp. We're leaving, she whispers urgently, right now. What? I'm so surprised by the sudden command that I speak louder than intended, and several people at our table look up curiously. Oh, we need to go, Emily says, her voice carrying that tone I recognize from her work, the one that brooks no argument and signals genuine emergency. Now. But why? I ask, confused and still not fully processing what's happening. Dinner just arrived. People will think it's weird if we leave now. Emily gives me that look, the one she uses when we're on a call and someone's life is in danger and there's no time to explain or debate. It's sharp and focused and completely serious, and it cuts through my confusion like a knife. Noah. She says my name like it's an order, like she's reminding me of something vital I've forgotten. Trust me. And I do trust her. I trust her more than anyone in the world, trust her judgment and her instincts and her ability to see danger where others see normalcy. So, even though I don't fully understand what's happening, even though leaving feels rude and awkward and completely inappropriate, I put down my fork. Excuse me, I say to the table, trying to keep my voice steady. Emily's not feeling well. We need to step outside for a moment. It's a weak excuse, and I can see the concern and confusion on people's faces. Mom starts to get up, probably to come with us and make sure Emily's okay, but Emily waves her off with a forced smile. Just a little dizzy, she says. Too much champagne on an empty stomach. We'll be right back. We stand up together, and I'm acutely aware of how every movement feels awkward and conspicuous. Emily's hand is on my arm, guiding me away from the table, and I can feel eyes following us as we make our way toward the exit. As we're walking away, I risk a glance back toward the head table. Ryan is in the middle of a conversation with Daniel, gesturing animatedly about something, but just as we reach the ballroom doors, he looks up. Our eyes meet across the crowded room, and for just a moment, his expression changes. The easy smile falters. His eyes narrow slightly, like he's trying to figure out what we're doing, why we're leaving when dinner has just been served. Then Daniel says something that draws his attention back, and the moment passes. But I saw it. That flash of something that wasn't quite right, wasn't quite the loving brother I thought I knew. We step out into the hotel corridor, and the relative quiet feels almost oppressive after the warm buzz of the ballroom. Emily doesn't stop walking until we're completely out of earshot around a corner and near the elevators. What just happened in there? I demand. Emily, you're scaring me. What did you see? She's breathing hard like she's just finished running a marathon. The sauce, she says. The lemon butter sauce on your fish. I could smell it from where I was sitting. Smell what? Peanut oil, Noah. There was definitely peanut oil in that sauce. The words hit me like a physical blow. Peanut oil in my food, deliberately placed there by someone who knows it could kill me. By my brother. Are you sure? I ask, even though I already know the answer. Emily's been around my allergy long enough to recognize the smell, especially in that concentrated a form. I'm sure, she says. If you had taken even one bite of that fish, you would have been in anaphylactic shock within minutes. I lean against the wall, feeling like the floor has dropped out from under me. This is really happening. Ryan really tried to poison me. My little brother, the person I've loved and protected my entire life, just tried to murder me at his own wedding. What do we do now? I ask. We get out of here, Emily says immediately. We go home, we call the police, and we figure out how to prove what just happened. The police? The idea of accusing Ryan of attempted murder feels surreal, impossible. Emily, he's my brother. Maybe there was just some kind of mix-up in the kitchen. Maybe it was an accident. Emily looks at me with a mixture of sympathy and frustration. Noah, you saw him talking to the chef multiple times today. You heard Daniel talking about capital coming in for their business expansion. You know how much money you inherited from your father. This wasn't an accident. She's right, of course. All the pieces fit together too neatly to be coincidence. But acknowledging that means accepting that everything I believed about my relationship with Ryan was a lie. It means accepting that the brother I thought I'd gotten back after Dad's death was never really there at all. I need to call this in, Emily says, pulling out her phone. Food tampering at a public event is a serious crime, and if there's evidence... Wait, I say, grabbing her arm. Just wait a minute. Let me think. Think about what Noah he tried to kill you. There's nothing to think about. He's my brother. I repeat, like saying it enough times will make it matter somehow. Maybe if I talk to him, if I confront him about this. Absolutely not. Emily's voice is sharp with fear. You are not going back in there. You are not confronting someone who just tried to murder you. We're leaving and we're calling the police, and that's final. I know she's right. I know that going back into that ballroom would be dangerous and stupid and potentially deadly. But part of me still can't accept that this is really happening, that Ryan could really be capable of something so horrible. What about Mom? I ask. What about all the guests they're expecting us to come back? They'll figure it out, Emily says. Right now, the only thing that matters is keeping you alive. We're quiet for a moment, standing in the empty hotel corridor while the sounds of celebration drift faintly from the ballroom. I can hear laughter and music, the clink of glasses, and the murmur of happy conversation. It's the soundtrack to what should have been one of the best days of Ryan's life, and instead it's become the day he tried to kill me. I don't understand, I say finally. Why now? Why at his own wedding, if he wanted me dead? Why choose today? Emily considers this. Perfect cover, she says. If you'd gone into anaphylactic shock during dinner, it would have looked like an accident. Food allergies are tricky cross-contamination happens all the time in restaurant kitchens. No one would have suspected foul play, especially not at his wedding. And he would have been surrounded by witnesses showing how devastated he was, I realize. The grieving brother who lost his beloved sibling on what was supposed to be the happiest day of his life. Exactly. It's actually pretty clever in a sick way. The calculating nature of it makes my stomach turn. This wasn't a crime of passion or a moment of weakness. This was planned, deliberate, carefully thought out. Ryan sat down and figured out exactly how to kill me in a way that would garner sympathy rather than suspicion. My phone buzzes with a text message and my heart nearly stops when I see Ryan's name on the screen. Everything okay? Mom said Emily wasn't feeling well. Let me know if you need anything. Even now, even after what he just tried to do, he's still playing the part of the concerned brother. The casual tone, the offer to help the apparent worry about Emily's well-being. It's all performance, all carefully crafted to maintain his image as the loving sibling. Don't respond, Emily says, reading the message over my shoulder. We're done playing his game. She's right. Whatever relationship Ryan and I had, whatever bond we've shared, it's over now. The moment he decided to put peanut oil in my food, he crossed a line that can never be uncrossed. But as we walk toward the hotel exit, leaving behind the sounds of his wedding celebration, I can't help but feel like I'm not just losing a brother. I'm losing the last connection to the family we used to be, the last piece of the life we shared before everything went wrong. And despite everything he's done, despite the fact that he just tried to murder me, that loss hurts more than I ever thought possible. We're sitting in Emily's car in the hotel parking lot, and I'm staring at the building like it's some kind of alien structure I've never seen before. The Grand Del Mar, with its elegant Spanish architecture and manicured gardens, looks exactly the same as it did 3 hours ago when we arrived full of excitement for Ryan's wedding. But everything feels different now. Everything feels dangerous and wrong and completely surreal. Emily's hands are shaking as she starts the engine, and that scares me more than anything else that's happened today. Emily doesn't shake. Emily's the one who stays calm in emergencies, who thinks clearly under pressure, who saves lives when everyone else is panicking. Seeing her this rattled makes the reality of what just happened hit me like a freight train. Tell me everything, I say as we pull out of the parking lot. From the beginning, what exactly did you see? Emily takes a deep breath, and I can see her switching into professional mode the way she does when she's giving a report to doctors at the hospital. I first noticed Ryan talking to catering staff during the cocktail hour, she begins. That's not unusual by itself. Grooms often check in with vendors, but he wasn't just checking in. He was giving very specific instructions, pointing toward the dining room, gesturing in ways that seemed purposeful. What kind of gestures? He was indicating specific areas of the ballroom, specific tables, and he kept pointing toward where our table would be. I think back to the cocktail hour, trying to remember if I noticed Ryan talking to staff members. There were so many people, so much activity, I wasn't paying attention to those kinds of details. I was focused on celebrating with family and friends, on enjoying what I thought was one of the happiest days of my brother's life. Then, during the ceremony, I saw him make eye contact with someone in the back of the room. Emily continues. Just for a second, just a quick glance, and nod. It could have been nothing, but combined with everything else, the questions about your allergy, the interest in your father's estate, the timing of all of this happening right after Daniel mentioned needing capital for business expansion. Emily's voice is getting stronger now, more confident as she lays out the evidence. And then today, when I saw him having multiple conversations with the kitchen staff, I started paying closer attention. We're driving through downtown San Diego now, past restaurants and shops that are bustling with normal Saturday evening activity. People are out enjoying dinner, walking hand in hand, living their regular lives while my entire world is falling apart. When did you know for sure? I ask. Emily's grip on the steering wheel tightens. When they serve dinner. I was watching your plate specifically because I'd been worried all day. The waiter set it down and immediately I could smell something that shouldn't have been there. The peanut oil. Yes, it was subtle, but unmistakable. I've responded to enough allergic reaction calls to recognize that smell anywhere. And Noah, it wasn't accidental cross-contamination. There was too much of it, too deliberately placed. The memory of my last allergic reaction comes flooding back with vivid, terrifying clarity. It was 3 years ago, just a few months after Dad's funeral. Emily and I had gone to a new restaurant to try to get out of the house, to do something normal and life-affirming after weeks of grief and funeral planning. I'd been so careful, like I always am. I'd told the server about my allergy, asked about ingredients, made sure they understood how serious it was. But somehow, peanut oil had gotten into my meal anyway. Maybe it was cross-contamination in the kitchen. Maybe it was a mistake with the ingredients. Maybe the server didn't communicate properly with the chef. I remember taking the first bite and immediately knowing something was wrong. The tingling in my mouth, the tightness in my throat, the way my heart started racing as my body recognized the presence of something that could kill me. Emily was the one who noticed first. She saw me drop my fork, saw the panic in my eyes, and immediately understood what was happening. She called 911 while administering my EpiPen, performed CPR when I stopped breathing, stayed calm and professional, even though I could see the terror in her eyes. I spent 2 days in the ICU. The doctor said if Emily hadn't acted as quickly as she did, if we'd been even 5 minutes farther from the hospital, I would have died. That's how I knew, Emily says quietly, and I realize she's been watching me remember. I could see it in your face. You were thinking about that night, too. If you hadn't been there, I start to say, but the words get stuck in my throat. I was there, she says firmly. I'm here now, and I'm not going to let anything happen to you. But the reality of what we're dealing with is starting to sink in. This wasn't some random accident or kitchen mistake. This was deliberate. This was planned. This was my brother, the person I trust most in the world, after Emily trying to murder me at his own wedding. Why? I ask, even though I'm starting to understand the answer. Why would Ryan want me dead? We're closer now than we've ever been. After Dad died, we finally found our way back to each other. Emily pulls into our driveway and turns off the engine. For a moment, we just sit there, in the growing darkness, the weight of what's happened settling over us like a heavy blanket. Money, she says simply. It's always about money. She reaches into the glove compartment and pulls out a manila folder I've seen before, but never really paid attention to. It's the copy of Dad's estate documents that our lawyer gave us after the will was read. Do you remember what your father left you? Emily asks, opening the folder. The house, some investments, his life insurance. I never really looked at the exact numbers. I was too focused on missing him to care about the financial details. Emily pulls out a document and hands it to me. It's a summary of Dad's estate distribution, and seeing the numbers laid out in black and white makes my stomach drop. 70%. Dad left me 70% of everything he owned. The house in Pacific Beach that's now worth over $2 million. The investment portfolio he'd been building for 40 years. The life insurance policies he'd maintained religiously. All told, it's well over $3 million. Ryan got 30%, which is still a substantial amount. More than enough to live comfortably, to invest in his future with Daniel, to build the life he wants. But apparently, it wasn't enough. If something happens to you, Emily says quietly, and you don't have a will, it all goes to Ryan, I finish, as my only surviving family member. The implications hit me like a physical blow. $3 million. More than enough to fund multiple restaurant locations, to set Ryan and Daniel up for life, to make all their dreams come true. He's been asking about estate planning. I say the memory, coming back with crystal clarity. Last month when we were having dinner, he brought up the importance of having our affairs in order now that we're getting older. What exactly did he ask? Whether I had a will? What happens if someone dies intestate? How inheritance laws work when there's no spouse or children involved? Each question feels like a piece of a puzzle clicking into place. I thought he was just being responsible, thinking about his own future with Daniel. He was thinking about his future, Emily says grimly. Just not the way you assumed. I think back over the past few months, looking for other signs I might have missed. Ryan's sudden interest in my health and wellness, the way he kept asking about my EpiPen, whether I always carried it, how quickly it worked. His questions about my work schedule, my daily routines, places I went regularly. I'd interpreted all of it as brotherly concern, the natural result of growing closer after Dad's death. But now I see it for what it really was: intelligence gathering, research, planning. Those conversations about my allergy, I say slowly. He wasn't trying to understand my condition better. He was figuring out how to use it against me. Anaphylactic shock is the perfect murder weapon, Emily says, her paramedic training evident in the clinical way she discusses it. It's fast, it's dramatic, and if the victim doesn't have immediate access to epinephrine, it's almost always fatal. Most importantly, it looks completely accidental, especially if it happens at a wedding where cross-contamination could easily be blamed on kitchen oversight. Exactly. Ryan would have been surrounded by hundreds of witnesses who could testify to how devastated he was, how much he loved his brother, how tragic it was that this accident happened on what should have been the happiest day of his life. The calculated nature of it makes me feel sick. This wasn't a moment of weakness or desperation. This was cold, methodical planning. Ryan sat down and figured out exactly how to kill me in a way that would generate sympathy rather than suspicion. How long do you think he's been planning this? I ask. Emily considers the question carefully. Based on the timing of his questions, probably since your father's will was read. Maybe longer. Which means everything since then has been an act. All those dinners together, all those conversations about Dad, all the times he seemed genuinely happy to have me as his brother again. Was him getting close enough to study your habits and vulnerabilities, Emily finishes. I'm sorry, Noah. I know how much this hurts. And it does hurt. It hurts in ways I didn't even know were possible. It's not just the betrayal, though, that's devastating enough. It's the realization that the relationship I thought we'd rebuilt was never real. The brother I thought I'd gotten back after Dad's death was just an illusion, a carefully constructed performance designed to make me trust him enough to let my guard down. Daniel, I say suddenly. Does Daniel know? I don't think so, Emily says. When he was talking about the capital coming in, he seemed genuinely excited about legitimate business opportunities. I think Ryan's been lying to him too. So Daniel thinks they're getting money from investors or a loan, but Ryan knows it's really going to come from my inheritance. That's my guess, which makes Daniel another victim in all of this. I think about Daniel's face during the ceremony, the genuine joy and love I saw when he looked at Ryan. He has no idea he's marrying someone capable of murder, someone who's been planning to kill his own brother for months. We have to tell him, I say. We can't let Daniel marry someone like this without knowing who he really is. After we call the police, Emily agrees. But Noah, we need evidence. Ryan's smart, and he's been planning this for a long time. Our word alone might not be enough to prove what he tried to do. The plate, I realize. My dinner plate, if there's still peanut oil residue on it. The hotel would have cleared the dishes by now. And even if they hadn't, proving that peanut oil was deliberately added rather than accidentally introduced would be nearly impossible. So what do we do? Emily reaches for her phone. We start by calling the police and reporting what happened. Then we contact the hotel and see if there's any security footage of Ryan's interactions with the catering staff. We gather whatever evidence we can and let the professionals handle the investigation. But even as she's speaking, I can see the doubt in her eyes. Ryan's been careful, methodical in his planning. He wouldn't have left obvious evidence lying around. He's going to get away with it, isn't he? I say. Not if I can help it, Emily says fiercely. But Noah, even if we can't prove attempted murder, we can make sure people know what kind of person he really is. We can protect Daniel from making the biggest mistake of his life. And most importantly, we can make sure you stay safe. As Emily dials 911, I lean back in the passenger seat and stare up at the darkening sky. An hour ago, I was at my brother's wedding celebrating what I thought was one of the happiest days of his life. Now, I'm sitting in my driveway calling the police to report that he tried to murder me. The worst part isn't even the attempt on my life, as terrifying as that was. The worst part is the realization that everything I believed about my family, about the bond Ryan and I shared, about the healing that happened after Dad's death was a lie. All those kind gestures, all those moments of apparent, genuine affection, all those conversations where he seemed to finally see me as the brother he'd always needed. They were just masks, carefully constructed performances designed to get close enough to kill me. And the brother I thought I'd finally gotten back, he was never really there at all. The police officer sitting across from us in our living room has the kind of weathered face that's seen too much over the years. Detective Martinez has been with the San Diego PD for 15 years, and when Emily called to report attempted poisoning, they sent someone who specializes in domestic crimes, someone who understands that the most dangerous people are often the ones closest to us. Walk me through it one more time, Detective Martinez says, his pen poised over his notepad. You believe your brother deliberately contaminated your food with peanut oil, knowing it could trigger a fatal allergic reaction. Hearing it said out loud like that in such clinical terms makes the whole thing sound even more surreal. But Emily's been through this story 3 times now, and her account never wavers. The timeline, the details, the specific observations she made throughout the day, it all holds together with the consistency of truth. I'm a paramedic, Emily explains again. I've responded to dozens of allergic reaction calls. I know what peanut oil smells like, especially in concentrated doses. What was on Noah's plate wasn't accidental cross-contamination. Detective Martinez nods and makes another note. We'll need to contact the hotel immediately. If there's any physical evidence remaining, we need to secure it before it's destroyed. What are the chances they still have the plate? I ask. Slim, the detective admits. But hotels like the Grand Del Mar often have extensive security camera systems. If your brother was having multiple conversations with catering staff like your wife described, there should be footage. The next few hours pass in a blur of phone calls and official procedures. Detective Martinez contacts the hotel, and within an hour they've secured the kitchen area and are reviewing surveillance footage. Emily and I sit in our living room drinking coffee we don't want and waiting for updates we're not sure we want to hear. Part of me hopes they don't find anything, I admit as we're waiting. Part of me hopes Emily was wrong, that this is all some terrible misunderstanding. Emily looks at me with a mixture of sympathy and frustration. Noah, I know this is hard to accept, but hoping I'm wrong isn't going to change what happened. Ryan tried to kill you today. I know, I say, and I do know intellectually. But emotionally, I'm still struggling to reconcile the brother I thought I knew with someone capable of murder. My phone buzzes with another text from Ryan, the 4th one since we left the wedding. Getting worried. Mom said you guys left because Emily was sick. Should I come check on you? The casual concern, the apparent worry for our well-being, it's all performance. But it's such a convincing performance that if I didn't know better, I'd believe he genuinely cared about us. He's still playing the role, Emily observes, reading over my shoulder. Even now, he's maintaining the facade of the loving brother. Detective Martinez's phone rings, and we both sit up straighter, hoping for news. He answers with a series of yes and understood responses that tell us nothing, but his expression grows more serious as the conversation continues. They found it, he says when he hangs up. Hotel security footage shows your brother having multiple conversations with the head chef throughout the day. In the final conversation, approximately 20 minutes before dinner service, they can see him handing something to the chef and pointing toward the dining room. Can they tell what he handed over? A small bottle. The chef has been detained for questioning, and he's already admitted to adding what he thought was a special seasoning to one specific plate at the groom's request. The confirmation hits me like a physical blow, even though I was expecting it. Hearing that there's actual evidence, actual proof that Ryan tried to kill me, makes it impossible to maintain any lingering denial. The chef claims he had no idea it was peanut oil or that it could cause harm, Detective Martinez continues. He says the groom told him it was a special ingredient that would make the meal memorable for his brother. He's cooperating fully with the investigation. So Ryan lied to the chef too, Emily says. Used him as an unwitting accomplice. It appears so. We're also looking into your brother's digital communications. If he's been planning this for as long as you suspect, there may be evidence in his phone records, emails, text messages. As if on cue, Detective Martinez's phone buzzes with another call. This time, his side of the conversation is more animated with several "what" and "are you sure" responses that make Emily and me lean forward anxiously. That was the cybercrime unit, he says when he hangs up. They've obtained a warrant for your brother's phone records and social media accounts. They found some very interesting text message exchanges. Between Ryan and who? Ryan and Daniel. Specifically, conversations about their business expansion plans. Detective Martinez pulls up something on his tablet and shows us a screenshot. This is from 2 weeks ago. The message thread is damning in its casual brutality. Ryan texting Daniel about their restaurant dreams, about the capital they'll need to make it happen, about how the inheritance situation should resolve itself soon. Daniel's responses are heartbreaking to read. He's genuinely excited about their future together, talking about locations. He's scouted menu ideas. He's developed how grateful he is that Ryan has found a way to secure the funding they need. Daniel had no idea, I say, reading through the messages. He really thought Ryan had found legitimate investors or secured a loan. It gets worse, Detective Martinez says, scrolling to more recent messages. Look at this exchange from yesterday. Ryan, everything's set for tomorrow. After the ceremony, our money problems will be permanently solved. Daniel, I can't wait to start this next chapter with you. You're amazing for making this happen. Ryan, some problems require permanent solutions, but after tomorrow we'll have everything we've ever dreamed of. The cold calculation in Ryan's words makes me feel sick. He's talking about murdering his own brother like it's a business transaction, a problem to be solved rather than a human life to be destroyed. We need to show these to Daniel, Emily says. He has a right to know who he married today. We've already dispatched officers to bring Daniel in for questioning, Detective Martinez says. Based on these messages, he may be considered an accessory, even if he didn't understand what Ryan was actually planning. The thought of Daniel being arrested on his wedding day for a crime he didn't even know was being committed is almost as heartbreaking as everything else that's happened. He's as much a victim of Ryan's deception as I am. What about Ryan? I ask. Are you arresting him? Officers are at the hotel now. Given the evidence we've found, he'll be charged with attempted murder, conspiracy, and food tampering. Bail will likely be denied given the severity of the charges and the fact that he poses a clear danger to you. I should feel relieved. I should feel vindicated. Ryan tried to kill me, and now he's going to face the consequences for his actions. Justice is being served. But mostly, I just feel empty, hollow. Like someone has reached into my chest and pulled out everything that used to matter. My phone rings and Mom's name appears on the screen. For a moment, I consider not answering. How do you tell your mother that one of her sons tried to murder the other? How do you explain that the family she spent her whole life building is now completely destroyed? I have to take this, I tell Detective Martinez, stepping into the kitchen for privacy. Noah, Mom's voice is shaky, confused. There are police officers here at the hotel. They're asking questions about Ryan, about you and Emily leaving dinner. What's going on? Mom, I start, but the words get stuck in my throat. How do you begin to explain something like this? They won't tell me anything, she continues, her voice rising with panic. They just keep asking about what Ryan was doing during the day, whether I noticed him talking to hotel staff. Noah, please, you're scaring me. Mom, I need you to sit down, I say gently. What I'm about to tell you is going to be very difficult to hear. I can hear her breathing change the way it does when she's preparing herself for bad news. She's had too much practice with that over the years, especially since Dad died. Ryan tried to hurt me today, I say, choosing my words carefully. He put something in my food that could have killed me. Emily noticed before I ate it and we left the wedding. The silence on the other end of the line stretches so long that I wonder if the call has been dropped. Then I hear a sound that I've never heard from my mother before, a low, keening wail that seems to come from somewhere deep inside her soul. No, she whispers. No, that's not possible. Ryan loves you. He would never. You're his brother. I know, Mom. I know how impossible it sounds. But the police have evidence. Security footage, text messages, witness statements. It really happened. But why? She asks, and I can hear her crying now. Why would he do something like that? Money, I say simply. Dad's inheritance. If something happened to me, Ryan would get everything. Another long silence and then, this is my fault. What, Mom? No, this isn't your fault. Ryan made his own choices. I always favored him, she says, her voice barely audible. From the time you were children, I always made excuses for him, always gave him special treatment. I taught him that he deserved more than everyone else, that the rules didn't apply to him the same way. It's true, and we both know it. Ryan was always the golden child, the one who got away with things that would have gotten me grounded for weeks. But even recognizing that pattern, I never imagined it would lead to this. You didn't teach him to be a murderer, I say firmly. That choice was his alone. I taught him that his wants mattered more than other people's needs, Mom says. I taught him that if he wanted something badly enough, he should find a way to get it. Oh God, Noah, what have I done? Before I can respond, I hear voices in the background and Mom's phone goes quiet for a moment. They're arresting him, she says when she comes back on the line. They're putting handcuffs on Ryan at his own wedding reception. Oh God, the guests, Daniel's family, everyone's watching. I close my eyes and try not to imagine the scene. Ryan in his tuxedo being led away in handcuffs while his wedding guests look on in shock and confusion. Daniel watching the person he just promised to love forever being arrested for attempted murder. I have to go, Mom says. I don't know what I have to do. How do you handle something like this? How do you tell people that your son tried to kill your other son? You don't have to handle this alone, I say. Emily and I will help you figure it out. Will you? She asks, and there's something vulnerable in her voice that breaks my heart. After everything I've done, after all the ways I've failed both of you, will you really help me? You're my mother, I say simply. Of course I'll help you. After I hang up, I stand in the kitchen for a long moment trying to process everything that's happened. In the span of a few hours, my entire family has been destroyed. My brother is going to prison for trying to kill me. My mother is drowning in guilt and shame, and I'm left trying to figure out how to rebuild a life from the wreckage of everything I thought I knew. Emily appears in the doorway, and without saying anything, she wraps her arms around me and holds me while I finally let myself cry. Not just for what Ryan tried to do, but for the brother I thought I had, the family. I thought we'd become the future. I thought we were building together. I'm sorry, she whispers. I'm so sorry this happened to you. He was my brother, I say through my tears. My only brother. And he tried to kill me for money. I know, baby, I know. The doorbell rings, and Detective Martinez goes to answer it. A moment later, he returns with someone I wasn't expecting to see, Carla Rodriguez, my childhood friend and coworker at the fire station. I heard the police radio chatter, Carla says, pulling me into a fierce hug. Noah, I'm so sorry. I came as soon as I could. Carla's known me since we were kids, long before Ryan became the golden child, back when we were just two brothers playing in the backyard. She's seen our family dynamics up close, watched how Ryan's behavior affected me over the years. I can't believe he actually tried to, she starts, then stops and shakes her head. Actually, that's a lie. I can believe it. I've been worried about something like this for years. What do you mean, the way he talked about you after your dad died? Carla says carefully. The questions he asked about your routines, your health, your financial situation. It always felt off to me, but I thought I was being paranoid. You should have said something, Emily says. Oy, should I have, based on what a feeling, a sense that something wasn't right? Carla shakes her head. Ryan's always been good at playing the victim, at making himself seem harmless and misunderstood. Who would have believed me if I'd said I thought he was planning to hurt Noah? She's right, of course. Ryan's charm and apparent vulnerability have always been his greatest weapons. Even now, part of me still wants to believe that this is all some terrible misunderstanding, that the brother I love is still in there somewhere. Blood doesn't make someone family, Carla says, sitting down next to me on the couch. Loyalty does. Love does. The choice to show up for each other day after day, year after year. That's what makes family. He's still my brother, I say weakly. No, Carla says firmly. A brother doesn't try to murder you for money. A brother doesn't spend months planning your death while pretending to love you. Whatever Ryan is, he stopped being your brother the moment he decided you were worth more dead than alive. The truth of her words hits me like a physical blow, but it's a necessary blow. A clarifying one. I've been so focused on the blood relationship, on the shared history and childhood memories, that I've been ignoring the most important fact. Someone who tries to kill you is not your family, regardless of genetics. The Ryan you thought you knew after your dad died, Carla continues. The one who seemed to finally appreciate you, who wanted to spend time with you, who acted like he'd finally figured out how to be a good brother. That person was never real. He was a character Ryan was playing to get close enough to kill you. All those dinners together. I say, the realization hitting me fresh. All those conversations about Dad, about our childhood, about how grateful he was to have me in his life. Were reconnaissance missions? Emily finishes. He was studying you, learning your habits and vulnerabilities, figuring out how to use your trust against you. Detective Martinez clears his throat. I hate to interrupt, but there's been a development. Daniel has been brought in for questioning, and he's asking to speak with you. With me? Why? He says he has information about Ryan's plans that he didn't understand until now. Things Ryan said that make sense in light of what we've discovered. I look at Emily, then at Carla. Should I talk to him? That's up to you, Detective Martinez says. But his lawyer has indicated that he wants to cooperate fully with the investigation. He's as shocked by this as you are. He just got married, I say. This morning, he promised to love Ryan for the rest of his life. Now he's finding out that the person he married is a would-be murderer. Which is exactly why he wants to talk to you, the detective says. You're both victims of Ryan's deception. Maybe talking to each other will help you both process what's happened. An hour later, I'm sitting in a sterile conference room at the police station waiting for Daniel to arrive. Emily's with me, holding my hand under the table, providing the steady strength I need to get through this conversation. When Daniel walks in, he looks like he's aged 10 years since the wedding ceremony. His tuxedo is wrinkled, his hair disheveled, and his eyes are red from crying. The joyful groom from this morning is gone, replaced by a broken man who's just learned that his entire life is built on lies. Noah, he says, sitting down across from us. I'm so sorry. I had no idea. I swear to you, I had no idea what he was planning. I know, I say, and I mean it. The text messages make that clear. He told me he'd found investors, Daniel continues, his voice shaking. He said some family friends wanted to back our restaurant expansion. I was so grateful, so excited about our future together. I never questioned where the money was really coming from. Why would you? You had no reason to suspect he was planning murder. Daniel breaks down, then putting his head in his hands and sobbing in a way that makes my chest ache with sympathy. This man just married someone. He thought he knew someone he thought he could trust with his heart and his future. Instead, he's discovered that his new husband is a calculating killer who was willing to murder his own brother for money. All those questions about you, Daniel says when he can speak again. About your health, your routines, your relationship with your father. He said he was trying to be a better brother, trying to make up for all the years he'd been distant and selfish. What did he ask specifically? Everything. Where you worked, what time you got off, whether you always carried your EpiPen, how quickly your allergic reactions progressed. He even asked me to help him plan surprise visits to your house, saying he wanted to spend more time with you. The scope of Ryan's planning is staggering. This wasn't a crime of passion or a moment of weakness. This was a long-term operation, months in the making, with contingency plans and backup strategies. He was mapping out my life, I realize, looking for the perfect opportunity to strike. The wedding was supposed to be perfect cover, Daniel says. He told me he wanted everything to be special, for his brother wanted to make sure you had the best possible experience. I thought it was sweet, the way he kept checking on the catering arrangements. Did he ever mention my inheritance directly? Daniel nods miserably. He said your father had left you both well provided for, and that once some family business was settled, we'd have all the capital we needed for our expansion plans. I thought he meant you were going to invest in the restaurant. In a way I say grimly, just not voluntarily. I loved him, Daniel whispers. I really truly loved him. This morning when I saw him walking down the aisle, I thought I was the luckiest person in the world. How could I have been so wrong about someone? It's the same question I've been asking myself all day. How do you love someone so completely while being so blind to who they really are? He's good at deception, Emily says gently. He fooled everyone who cares about him. That doesn't make you naive or stupid. It makes him a very dangerous person. What happens now? Daniel asks. I mean, legally, we're married, but that's something you'll need to discuss with your lawyer, Detective Martinez says. But given the circumstances, an annulment seems likely. Daniel nods and wipes his eyes. I need to call my parents, my siblings. They came all the way from Boston for this wedding. Now I have to tell them that their new son-in-law tried to murder his brother. We'll help you figure out what to say, I offer. This isn't your fault, Daniel. You didn't do anything wrong. I married a monster, he says simply. How is that not wrong? You married someone you thought you knew, Carla corrects. The monster part was hidden from you, just like it was hidden from all of us. As we're wrapping up the interview, Detective Martinez gets another call. When he hangs up, his expression is grim. Ryan's been officially charged, he says. Attempted murder in the first-degree conspiracy, food tampering, and several other related charges. His lawyer is claiming mental breakdown, temporary insanity brought on by grief over his father's death. That's bullshit, Carla says immediately. This was planned for months. You don't accidentally spend weeks researching someone's allergies and estate planning if you're having a mental breakdown. The evidence supports premeditation, Detective Martinez agrees. The text messages alone show clear intent and planning. His lawyer can claim whatever he wants, but the facts speak for themselves. As we're leaving the police station, my phone buzzes with one final text from Ryan. This one is different from the others, though. This one finally drops the pretense. I'm sorry it came to this. I never wanted to hurt you. I just needed the money so badly, and you have so much more than you need. I thought it would be quick to painless. I thought you'd never know what hit you. I'm sorry, Noah. I'm sorry for everything. It's not quite a confession, but it's close. Close enough to show that the loving brother facade has finally cracked, revealing the calculating killer underneath. He's still manipulating, Emily observes, reading over my shoulder. Even now, he's trying to make himself the victim, making it sound like desperation rather than greed, like he was doing you a favor by planning a quick death. She's right. Even in what might be his final communication with me, Ryan can't resist trying to control the narrative, to paint himself as the misunderstood younger brother who was driven to desperate measures, rather than the cold-blooded killer who spent months planning my murder. But I'm done being manipulated. I'm done making excuses for him. Done trying to find the good in someone who sees me as nothing more than an obstacle to his financial goals. I delete the message without responding and block his number. It's over, I tell Emily and Carla as we walk to our car. Whatever relationship Ryan and I had, whatever bond we shared, it's over now. Good, Carla says firmly. You deserve better than someone who sees you as expendable. And for the first time all day, I actually believe that might be true. 3 weeks after the wedding that almost killed me, I'm sitting in the courtroom watching my brother be sentenced to 15 years in prison for attempted murder. He's wearing an orange jumpsuit instead of his tuxedo, his hands cuffed behind his back, and when the judge reads the verdict, he doesn't even look in my direction. Emily's hand is warm in mine, grounding me to this moment, to this reality where justice actually exists, and people who try to murder their siblings face consequences for their actions. Detective Martinez is sitting behind us, along with the prosecutor who built such a solid case that Ryan's lawyer eventually advised him to take a plea deal rather than risk trial. The defendant will serve 15 years in state prison, the judge says, her voice carrying the weight of finality. He will be eligible for parole in 10 years, provided he completes anger management and psychological counseling programs. 15 years. It's a long time, but it's also not nearly enough for what he tried to do. Still, it means I don't have to worry about him for at least a decade. It means I can rebuild my life without looking over my shoulder, wondering if he's planning another attempt on my life. When the bailiff leads Ryan away, he finally turns to look at me. For just a moment, I see something in his eyes that might be regret, or sadness, or even genuine remorse. But then it's gone, replaced by the same cold calculation I've learned to recognize as his true self. I don't feel satisfaction watching him led away in chains. I don't feel vindicated or relieved or any of the emotions I thought I might experience. Mostly, I just feel empty, like I'm watching the final death of someone who was already gone. "How are you doing?" Emily asks as we leave the courthouse. "I honestly don't know," I tell her. I keep thinking I should feel something more, anger or closure or relief, but mostly I just feel tired. "That's normal," she says. "You've been through trauma. Your brain is still processing everything that happened." Over the past 3 weeks, Emily has become my anchor in ways I didn't even know I needed. Every night when the nightmares wake me up sweating and shaking, she's there to remind me that I'm safe. Every morning when I wake up grateful to be alive, she's there to share that gratitude with me. "You matter to me," she tells me every single day. "Your life is everything to me." It's a simple statement, but it's exactly what I need to hear. After months of Ryan treating me like an obstacle to be removed, like my life had value only in terms of what my death could provide him. Emily's daily affirmations help me remember that I'm a person worthy of love and protection. The legal proceedings have been easier than the emotional recovery. Ryan pled guilty to all charges, which meant we didn't have to go through a trial. Daniel's marriage was annulled after just 3 weeks, which has to be some kind of record. The restaurant business has been dissolved, with Daniel keeping the original location, and Ryan's share being used to pay legal fees and victim compensation. Daniel stopped by our house last week to apologize again and to let us know he was moving back to Boston. "I can't stay in San Diego," he told us. "Every street corner reminds me of him, of the life I thought we were going to build together." I felt bad for Daniel. In some ways, he's as much a victim of Ryan's deception as I am. He lost his marriage, his business partner, and his faith in his own judgment all in the same day. At least I had the advantage of being able to recognize Ryan's true nature. Daniel had to discover it in the most brutal way possible. Mom has been the hardest part of the recovery process. The guilt she's carrying over Ryan's actions over the years of favoritism that she believes contributed to his sense of entitlement has been eating her alive. She's been going to therapy twice a week trying to understand how her parenting choices might have shaped the man Ryan became. "I see you now, Noah," she told me last week when she came over for dinner. "I should have seen you all along." It was the first time in my life that I felt like my mother really understood who I was, really valued what I brought to the family. It's taken a tragedy to open her eyes, but I'm grateful for the recognition, even if it comes 35 years too late. I spent so much time protecting Ryan from consequences that I never taught him to be accountable for his actions, she continued. I thought I was being loving, but I was actually creating a monster. "You didn't create a monster," I told her, because I genuinely believe that. "You made mistakes, but Ryan made choices. He chose to plan my murder. He chose to prioritize money over my life. Those were his decisions, not yours." But I understand her need to examine her role in all of this. She's trying to figure out how to live with the knowledge that one son tried to kill the other, and that her own actions might have contributed to that outcome. The fire station has been my salvation through all of this. Getting back to work, back to the routine of helping people and saving lives, has reminded me of who I am when I'm not defined by family trauma. Captain Rodriguez put me on light duty for the first week, but then I asked to be returned to full active status. "I need to be useful," I told him. "I need to remember that my life has purpose beyond just being a target for someone else's greed." My crew has been incredible. They've given me space when I needed it and support when I asked for it. Carla especially has been checking on me constantly without being overbearing about it. "You're looking better," she told me yesterday as we were cleaning equipment after a call. "More like yourself." "I'm starting to feel more like myself," I admitted. "Whatever that means now." "It means you're remembering that you have value beyond what Ryan saw in you," she said. "You're a good firefighter, a good husband, a good friend. Those things don't change because your brother turned out to be a psychopath." Carla's been helping me understand something important, that Ryan's actions don't define me or diminish my worth. His attempt to kill me says everything about who he is, and nothing about who I am. I'm not a failed brother or a naive victim. I'm someone who loved deeply and trusted completely, and those aren't character flaws, even if they made me vulnerable to someone with bad intentions. "Blood doesn't make someone family," Carla reminded me again yesterday. "Loyalty does. Love does. The choice to show up for each other day after day, year after year." She's right. I've spent my whole life thinking family was something you were born into, something determined by genetics and shared history. But Emily has been more of a family to me than Ryan ever was, even before he tried to kill me. She's the one who shows up when I need help. She's the one who celebrates my successes and comforts me through my failures. She's the one who sees my life as precious and worth protecting. And Carla, who's known me since we were kids but chose to maintain our friendship through all the years of growing up and growing apart and finding our way back to each other. She's family too. She's proven her loyalty through decades of friendship, through being there for me when things got difficult. My crew at the station who've supported me through this crisis without judgment or prying questions, they're family. Mom, who's working so hard to understand her mistakes and build a better relationship with me going forward, she's family too in a different way than she used to be. But Ryan stopped being family the moment he decided I was worth more dead than alive. This morning is Saturday, 3 weeks and 2 days after the wedding. Emily and I are in our kitchen making pancakes, something we used to do every weekend before all this happened. It's the first time since the attack that we've returned to our normal routine, and there's something deeply healing about the ordinariness of it. "Blueberry or chocolate chip?" Emily asks, standing at the stove with the batter bowl in her hands. "Surprise me," I say, and she grins and dumps in both types. Living dangerously, I see. "After everything we've been through, I think I can handle the risk of conflicting pancake flavors." The coffee is brewing, filling the kitchen with that rich morning smell that makes everything feel normal and safe. Emily's wearing one of my old fire department t-shirts and her hair is messy from sleep and she looks absolutely perfect. More beautiful than she did on our wedding day, if that's possible. I love you, I tell her, not because it's a special occasion or because something prompted it, but just because it's true and I want her to know it. I love you too, she says, flipping a pancake with professional skill. More than you know. The doorbell rings and Emily and I look at each other curiously. It's early for visitors, especially on a Saturday morning. I'll get it, I say, but when I open the door, Carla's standing there with a bag from our favorite bakery and a grin that takes up half her face. Please tell me you have coffee, she says, pushing past me into the house. I brought cinnamon rolls, but I need caffeine to make them worthwhile. What are you doing here so early? Emily asks, but she's smiling as she says it. Over the past few weeks, Carla has become a regular fixture in our house, and Emily genuinely enjoys her company. I was driving by and I smelled pancakes, Carla says. Also, I wanted to tell you guys about the date I went on last night. A date? I ask, pouring her a cup of coffee. You didn't mention you were seeing anyone. Because I wasn't until last night. Remember Tom from Station 19? He finally worked up the courage to ask me out, and it was actually really nice. For the next hour, we sit around our kitchen table eating pancakes and cinnamon rolls, while Carla tells us about her evening with Tom. She's animated and happy in a way I haven't seen her in years, and her joy is infectious. Emily and I find ourselves laughing at her stories, offering dating advice, teasing her about her obvious excitement. It's the most normal I've felt since this whole nightmare started. It's the first time in weeks that I've been able to think about something other than Ryan and attempted murder and family betrayal. For an hour, I'm just Noah again, sitting in my kitchen with my wife and my best friend talking about ordinary things and feeling genuinely happy. You're smiling, Carla observes as she's getting ready to leave. Really smiling, not that fake smile you've been wearing for the past few weeks. I realize, and it's true. For the first time since the wedding, I feel something approaching real happiness. Not just relief or absence of fear, but actual contentment. Good, she says, hugging both Emily and me. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to have people in your life who see your worth and protect it. After she leaves, Emily and I clean up the breakfast dishes together, moving around each other in the familiar dance of a long marriage. We don't talk about Ryan or the trial or any of the heavy things that have dominated our conversations for weeks. We just exist together in this peaceful morning space, grateful for the simple pleasure of being alive and safe and loved. What do you want to do today? Emily asks as she dries the last plate. Nothing important, I say. Maybe go for a walk on the beach, maybe watch a movie, maybe just sit on the couch and read. That sounds perfect. As we're settling onto the couch with our books and our second cups of coffee, I find myself thinking about family again. But this time, it's not with sadness or confusion or anger. This time I'm thinking about it with clarity and gratitude. I used to think family was something you were born into, something determined by genetics and shared childhood experiences. I thought it was permanent and unchangeable, that blood ties created bonds that couldn't be broken no matter what happened. But now, I understand that real family is something you build piece by piece, choice by choice, day by day. It's Emily, who sees my life as precious and worth protecting, who holds me when the nightmares come and reminds me every morning that I matter. It's Carla, who's chosen to stay connected to me through decades of friendship, who shows up with cinnamon rolls and dating stories because she wants to be part of my life. It's my crew at the fire station, who've supported me through this crisis without judgment. It's Mom, who's working to understand her mistakes and build a better relationship with me. It's Detective Martinez, who took my case seriously and worked tirelessly to ensure justice was served. Family is made up of people who choose to love you, not just people who happen to share your DNA. It's built through loyalty and care and the daily decision to show up for each other when things get difficult. Ryan was my brother by birth, but he stopped being family when he chose money over my life. Emily is my family by choice, and that bond is stronger than any genetic connection could ever be. I close my book and look around our living room. At the photos on the walls, the comfortable furniture we've chosen together, the evidence of the life we've built piece by piece over 12 years of marriage. This is home. This is family. This is what's worth protecting and cherishing and fighting for. And for the first time in weeks, I feel genuinely grateful to be alive to experience it. Hey, Emily says, looking up from her book. What are you thinking about? You have that contemplative look on your face. Just this, I say, gesturing around the room. Us. How lucky I am to have people who would never let me fall. Emily smiles and reaches for my hand. Always, she says simply. I will always catch you, and I believe her. More than that, I know she's right. I've learned the hard way that blood doesn't guarantee loyalty, that being born into a family doesn't mean you'll be protected by that family. But I've also learned that the family you choose, the people who actively decide to love and support you, will move heaven and earth to keep you safe. I always thought family was something you were born into. But now I know. It's something you build piece by piece with those who would never let you fall. And that kind of family, the kind built on choice and love rather than obligation. And genetics is worth more than any inheritance could ever be. Sometimes, the people who are supposed to love you the most are the ones who hurt you the deepest. But real family chooses you every single day. If this story hit close to home, or if you've ever questioned the loyalty of people in your own life, drop a comment below. I read every single one. And if you want to hear more stories about family betrayal, toxic relationships, and finding your way back to happiness, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Thanks for listening, and remember, you deserve people who would never let you fall.